Hello Health Seeker, it's Rich here from Spinecentral, the quick liberated lifestyle message. So I want to share with you a topic that I think is really important, and it's been brought to my mind through a conversation I had with a client this morning. She shared with me that she's having a hard time dealing with concepts and thoughts around her own mortality. You know, a close family friend passed away recently, and she's now left contemplating her own life and the meaning of life even, and you know, the difficulties and the realities of aging. And she says, you know, ask her, what's so hard about aging? And she said, well, first of all, your physical body doesn't do what you want it to do anymore. You know, there's pains, there's aches, there's difficulty getting around, these kind of things. And then she said there's a contrast with the youth, you know, so it's hard to come to terms with the fact that children don't do what we used to do. All the technology and information that comes, you know, it can just be hard to just go about living when you get older. And the difficulty that I see here is that actually the challenge is change. The challenge isn't necessarily what's going on, you know. So a lot of this stuff is just the reality of life. So the only constant you can ever rely upon in the universe, the only guaranteed constant is change, you know. So it's going to happen. The world is going to move on, and in a short few years, if you're young now, you're going to look back and be like, geez, things are so different from when I was young. It's just the way the world works. It's fast paced. It's never ending progress. And that's not just in the physical world around you. It's in human consciousness. It's in the value systems. It's in everything you look at. You know, there's this constant ever change. So, you know, one of the reasons why we get stress and inner turmoil and difficulty handling these changes in our life is because we have a failure to adapt to this change in the environment. So it's Dr. Demartini, he's got a fantastic definition of stress, which is just that. Stress is a failure to adapt to a changing environment. It's so true, so true. So, you know, the more adaptable you are, basically the better you are able to change and accept change when it comes at you. So this is so important for not only maintaining good mental health and being able to resist all the emotional turmoil of living in a stressful modern world, but it's also so important when it comes to your body and to your nutrition and to just generally staying healthy. So basically, the more you build up reserve in your body, the more adaptable you are, the more likely you are to get to old age and be able to handle that change really nicely. You know, so I actually had a conversation this morning with a client about our goals for the future. And he said, like, you know, if I project things forward, by the time I'm 60, I'm not going to be able to ride my bike like I do now. You know, he said something has to change. And I agree. You know, it's time to work on restructuring your body now so that you can actually maintain, you know, a high standard of health in the future. And I shared with him, you know, like one of my most inspiring visions that I've ever had when it comes to health and the potential that we all have was watching an 80-year-old French gentleman kite surf in Cape Town a few years ago. He's there on these 15-foot waves, pulling amazing tricks off and just looking very agile, nimble, and strong. And, you know, when I first saw him, I thought, yeah, that guy must be semi-pro or something. He looked like a young guy on the water. Met him on the beach a little bit later, wrinkly skin, you know, deep French accent. He's an old guy, just loves fitness, loves surfing, and he just kept it up and was able to look after himself. That's very inspiring to me, to be able to think that you can maintain function into later life. So, you know, it raises an important question because, like I said, the more adaptable you are, the less stressful and the easier life's going to be in the future. So what are you doing right now? What are you doing now to maintain your body? Now, there's a reason why your structure goes wrong. There's a reason why your nutrition goes wrong. There's a reason why you have difficulty with emotional stress. Each of these areas can be handled. But the question is, are you going to put the work in now? Do you have a vision for the future that makes you work in the now so that you can realize that? So don't wait. Take action now, and so that when you get there, you can be nice and adaptable and robust and have all this reserve in the tanks that you can still show up at your finest when you're older. So this video is knocking on a bit, so I'll call it a day there. But thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next one.